How's it going, guys? I'm back here again for another video, and in this video I'm here to do a review for a film that I got sent as a screener from Midnight Releasings. They contacted me a few weeks ago and asked me to start doing asked me if I wanted to review some of their up-and-coming titles, and I said sure, and this was the first film that I watched from them, and the film is entitled Teenage Ghost Punk. And when I first saw the trailer of this movie, I knew it was going to be a good time. Essentially what the movie's about is this girl, teenage girl who moved into this new house, and she finds out that it's actually haunted by the spirit of a dead punk, essentially. He's a teenager who was a punk rocker. He plays guitar and he loves classic punk bands. And like I said, when I first saw the trailer for this, I knew this was going to be a good time. And it really is. This is sort of a goofy, funny, over-the-top horror comedy. You can tell that the people that made it had a lot of fun doing this film. But essentially, it follows this teenage girl named Amanda who, she just moved to a new town with her mom named Carol and her brother named Adam. And obviously, you can tell that she hates the fact that she's moving. She was really, had a lot of friends at her school. She was a cheerleader, and she was also dating a football player. And obviously, she hates that she's being moved away from that town. You find out that her mother had just gotten a divorce from Amanda's father, and you also find out that the mother is really into classic punk bands like the Ramones, the Sex Pistols, the Jam. Even at the beginning of the movie, Amanda's, she's trying to listen to her music while they're driving in the car, and her mom keeps changing the radio to a punk station, and Amanda just obviously doesn't like it. She's into, of course, the pop type, Taylor Swift type music, and she doesn't like listening to records. Her mom has a bunch of old classic records, and she doesn't understand why anyone would buy a record. She of course has all of her music on her iPad, so she just listens to that. And her younger brother Adam, I guess you would call him kind of like a bookworm. He's really into mathematics and things like that. Like he really likes Ernest Hemingway, and he talks in a kind of a way of someone with much prestige and high intelligence, I guess you would say. He kind of talks like, well, I do believe that there is somebody in this house, kind of like that. Like he's really into older philosophers like that, like Shakespeare and people like that. So you get kind of this dynamic, and you can tell that he also occasionally pulls pranks on his older sister. Now, when she first moves into the house, obviously she hates the fact that she's away from her friends, and she's talking to one of her friends, Taylor, on Skype. And while this is happening, her brother Adam gets this. He starts hitting her window pane with a I forget exactly what it is, but he starts hitting the window pane with something. And while he's doing that, he then comes down to her room and says, and she's like, why are you hitting my window? And she's like, I wasn't doing that. Of course he denies it. And then shortly after that, he believes that he sees a face outside the window, and that kind of freaks him out. And he says, oh, I think I just saw a face. And she goes, she's obviously thinks that he's pulling her prank on her, so she gets mad at him. But as the movie goes on, they actually do start believing that there may be somebody in the house. You're also introduced to some other pretty colorful characters. You're introduced to their neighbors, who is sort of an over-exaggerated gay couple. They're really, of course, they're really friendly people. But they're, like I said, they're exaggerated in a comedic way. Also, Amanda meets this guy at school who, his name is Edgar, but he calls himself Squatchy. Everyone calls him Squatchy because he's kind of a bigger guy. He's got long, curly hair, and he's got a beard, and he keeps trying to hang out with her, and she just doesn't want to have anything to do with him. And then, as the movie goes on, things start happening. At one point, they come home, and they see all these, plates and everything laying all across the floor. Everything that was on their kitchen table has been spilt out onto the floor, and her mom's old box of punk records are laying out there as well. So they called the police, and the police said that they can't find any prints, but they do find an old yearbook from the high school there, and and Carol, Amanda's mom never went to that high school, so she doesn't understand why there would be a yearbook from the high school she didn't go to. And the police detective also finds an old pipe that he believes is a very much older pipe, and he says that there's a tobacco residue in there, which obviously is kind of odd. They assume that some teenagers probably broke into the house, but since there's the pipe is very old and that there's tobacco residue instead of something like marijuana residue or something like that, they just find it very odd. You also know that as far as other characters are concerned, Carol it keeps getting bothered by this guy at her job, and he's a very he keeps trying to have these really terrible kind of pickup lines for her and stuff like, "Oh girl, you're like a loaf in the oven. You need to be taken out." Stuff like that. Really, really terrible pickup lines that are really, really just annoying. You can tell she gets very annoyed by it, but it's also really funny. There's a lot of characters like this in the film, like I said. Well, as the movie goes on, they do start to believe that there may be somebody in the house, and so they contact a medium who they later just decide that she's probably crazy. And so they decide to contact a group of paranormal investigators who call themselves the Super Paranormal Investigation Team, or SPIT. And it's basically a group of guys and this girl, and they're, like I said, very over-the-top, goofy characters. Like, when they're going through the house, there's one point where one of the guys says, "Man, it's getting really cold in here," and the other one says, "Yeah, this is Sasquatch weather." And they're just like, it's not Sasquatch, he's not in the house. And there's even one point where the main paranormal investigator tries to kiss the woman investigator, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he just goes, "Don't tell the other guys." So they're basically, idiots in a way. They're also carrying around these different types of paranormal, I guess, devices that they have that are all that they all made themselves. It's kind of funny. They're actually carrying around something that's actually, it looks like an old PlayStation 2 controller or a PlayStation 3 controller that they just hooked something onto it, and I thought that was kind of funny. They did manage to capture a video recording, or not a video, but a voice recording of the spirit, and it says, "Disco sucks, punk rules," or something like that. And from that point on, that's when Amanda first ends up meeting the punk. You find out that his name is Brian Flynn, and that he was actually someone he used to play in a band, and he ended up dying years and years ago. And she doesn't really understand how she can see him, and he doesn't understand how he can see her, but they sort of start having this friendship. And as the movie goes on, she's able to see other spirits. You find out that Brian has a lot of different friends from different eras. Like, he has one friend from the 1950s, he has another friend from the 1970s, this girl who's always talking about peace and love and all that. And then he has a Native American friend who basically still believes at a lot of time that he's still in that time period. They sort of go back and forth. Some of them believe that they believe that they are still in that time period when they died, and then they kind of snap out of it, and then they realize that no, they're not. They're in this they're in modern time, and it kind of freaks them out. But essentially the rest of the movie is about Brian and Amanda sort of becoming friends, and him introducing her to all this great punk music that she of course has been missing. And as the movie goes on, you start to realize that Amanda starts having feelings for him. And I don't want to give anything else away, because I really do think this is a movie you guys should check out. It's a really fun film. Now, this movie is a low-budget movie. It's also a really just a really goofy, fun time. There's a lot of really great characters in this movie. The acting in it was pretty well done, and the music was good too. There's even some music of the character Brian Flynn, whose name I'm forgetting the actor's name, but he's actually singing he plays in a band, and there's one point in the movie where he is playing with his band. One thing I did like about this movie is that it doesn't focus a lot on, I guess, the love interest between Amanda and Brian. It focuses more on just Brian and the other ghost sort of being there and their friendship. And one thing I think that a lot of films sort of go to is that they always try to have sort of this love triangle between the two main characters, and sometimes it works, you know, and I think that there's some films that they focus too much on that, and I was glad that this movie didn't, because I think that if they had have had this sort of goofy, sort of funny movie, and then it went to like sort of a love story thing, I don't think it would have worked as well, and so I'm glad that they didn't focus completely on the love story between them, but you do know that they do both love each other, in a way, and, you know, the movie, like I said, it's a very fun time. It's definitely one movie to, you know, if you got friends over, you just want to laugh to a goofy, you know, movie, it's just one film that you can just sit down and enjoy, and that's what I enjoyed about it. So yeah, guys, if you guys think that this movie sounds interesting, I'll leave a link down below to the trailer for the movie, and I'll also leave a link down below to everything else, to the Facebook and things like that they sent me. Like I said, Midnight Releasing sent this movie to me for a screener, and I want to thank them very much for sending it to me. I really did enjoy this movie. It was a really fun ride, and I think a lot of other people will enjoy it, and I am looking forward to checking out the other two films that they sent for me as well. So my next two reviews will be from Midnight Releasing, so I hope you guys enjoy that. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about this review for this film, and let me know if it's a movie that you guys think you guys would like to check out. The film is available on DVD. It's also available on Vudu, Vimeo. All the you know, if you want to check the movie out, just go to midnightreleasings.com or follow the film on, you know, follow it on Facebook, and I'm sure you'll be able to find a link to check it out. It's been out since about April 5th, I believe, is when it was released. So it's been out. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Once again, thank you to Midnight Releasing for sending me the screener. I really enjoyed the movie, and I'm looking forward to checking out the other two films that you guys sent to me. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.